let's put the high holidays on the shelf for the moment and think about Shabbat here. Yeah, there you go. Okay, no problem. Uh, yeah. Okay. Now, going back to Lauren. This is a quickie around the room about how we're working on this material, and then we'll get into having everybody demo everything they've learned. How's that? Okay, Lauren, you're on.
Okay, as long as I'm not demoing anything yet. Um, working with it, starting to get it, realizing that it's just gonna take time. I'm perfectionist, so it's frustrating the heck out of me that I don't have it, right? So when we get to demonstrating, it's gonna sound awful because I'm just not there. But one of the things I'm struggling with, probably because I'm still working on understanding music theory with it, is the charts are written clearly for a tenor. Uh, uh, or it's just I can hit the notes. It's just very high for me to learn it, and I'm not sure how to transpose it down with the raised third and I'm not competent enough in that area. So any assistance with that would be helpful. Just in terms of trying to get the actual key signature and then these pieces that you have on the chart into more of a, bringing it down a couple steps, because I tried in SIB and it was awful. It just didn't work.
Hmm.
So that's kind of where I'm struggling.
Right. Okay. Um, yeah. Listen, Trent. I mean, you're right. Well, it's not necessarily written for a tenor per se. And the one thing about the music software that includes Sibelius is that it is possible to transpose. And actually, once you know there's several clicks, series of clicks you can do, and you can make an entire chart transpose into whatever key you feel like. It's once you know the steps, it's not rocket science. As you go bang, bang, bang. And even in SIB 7 or 8, which is the modern program, they made it harder, but it's doable. Okay, you look up transpose, and
Yeah.
essentially you go to edit and select all. And then you're in a position to transpose, because if you don't select the whole thing, it can do weird stuff and change your key signatures and God knows what. Okay, so that's one. And we can talk about range of this stuff also. But meanwhile, Caitlin, then Rachel, just going around the room.
I'm feeling okay with it. I also need to change the key, but what I'm doing is finding myself my new tonic and then just sight singing from there without using the keyboard. I feel like this Adonai Malach stays tonal enough that I can do that. Then when there are places I get stuck, I use my solfege to get me out of my rut. And so I feel like it's okay.
Cool, thank you. Rachel, Kevin, Rachel.
Um, yeah, so due to like no circumstances at all, I didn't have as much time as I would have liked to spend with Adonai Malach. I don't know why, but I'm moving through it. If I had the chance, I would have loved more time because it's just feeling still very clunky and I'm not able to flow with it yet. Like I'm feeling like, okay, and now I move to this bluesiness. Okay, now I move to this cadential series. And I'm not feeling this natural flow between the sections. Like it doesn't really make sense to me as like, I'm like, why are we using this? Usually Nusach feels a little more like intuitive to me. Like I'm like, oh, this sounds correct, and I'm not there yet with this.
Okay, no problem. Kevin, and then Lisa.
I chose this Shabbat 1E, which was the hardest one because I am part of a couple of synagogues that do this Nusach, and so it's not foreign to me. And so but I'm interested in this Shabbat 01E with all these runs and stuff that it doesn't sound like Adonai Malach to me. So that's where I'm like, it doesn't have the same feeling. And so I'm trying to get my mind to get out of what I know already, like just like this repetition, because I go to Shabbat Friday night all the time, and so just getting out that cantor in my head that sings the same thing every week in the same key, and so that's my challenge, but I think it's a good one.
Singing everything the same way every week. Oh God.
No, like you could set your
Boring.
watch. No, I know it, and you could set your watch by it, and it's wonderful. But it's like I'm finding it hard to riff a little bit because it's so in my head of these prayers. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu. You know, just what I hear every Friday night.
That's a good point. I'm not going to respond to everybody, okay, but that's a very good point. The spectrum or the dynamic from the same to the new, you know, like using, that's one of the aspects of this material is there's same things, there's, you know, typical cadences, and there's freedom. So freedom to stretch and not set your watch all the time. Right. Okay. Lisa, then Rhonda.
I am working. I'm feeling like I'm getting it in my brain somewhat. I did the assignment of setting part of a psalm. I did it. I'm sure I did it completely wrong, but I know the wrong things I did. I think so. You know, it's hard for me to stick with certain kinds of rules. So, yeah.
Trouble with rules. Yes, I know about that.
Trouble with-
Hey, cool.
So I did it all wrong, but I like it.
Thank you. We'll see. Rhonda, then Ariel.
I don't even know what to say. Yeah, it just I'm really happy to be learning it, but it is way outside my comfort zone to do, you know, what you're all calling just kind of riff and just off the cuff. For years, my rabbi has said, just make something up. You know, I was like, I can't do that. No, I don't do that. Give me the music and I will sing it for you. So it's really, really a stretch for me to do it, but a good one. So it's just, you know, gonna take time.
Yeah, I know. I totally appreciate it. Good you have a rabbi that says that. Okay. And yeah, I came from kind of both directions myself. The growing up, hearing traditional davening, right? That I quite a bit of that, but I also went to a conservatory for a master's degree, and you know, when you're doing, if you're doing Bach, you have to do Bach. You know, you have to do Bach and you have to do Mozart. You know, there's a way to do it, and it's not, you're not going to improvise all over the landscape by and large, unless it's early Baroque music. So yeah, okay, Ariel, then Alexandria.
Yeah, like remembering the Nusach and feeling somewhat comfortable, but also wanting to, I really want to get to a place where I can really play inside of it. Like I actually do like that, but it's like I have to really understand like where the box is so that then I can like play inside the box. I feel like I'm not quite there yet.
Thank you for your honesty. We're all not quite there yet. Alexandra.
Echoing a lot of what our friends are saying, it's nice to have these places to hang my hat in Nusach land, but still getting used to those spots versus what I'm used to with the text. So looking forward to working on it more.
Thank you. Okay, let's take a look at the work we've done. And I think, you know, what I hear is, except for Caitlin, who's totally mellow with all of this, except for the high holidays.
No, what I really meant to say was I feel like, you know, I feel like we know from some of our previous tools, all of us have a certain base level of music theory. We can sort of hack our way through it. It's not totally foreign. That's all I meant.
Sure, right.
I didn't mean to sound like, this is no problem. What's the matter with you people? That's not what I meant at all.
No, I didn't say that yet. Right. Yeah. And if it feels a tad awkward, if you haven't done this kind of this particular kind of musical language or this kind of singing in shul before. Well, it's a little like when you're taking swimming lessons. You jump in the pool and you're gonna, flop around a little bit, and then at a certain point, how to, put your arms in the water so that you won't, splash water into your mouth. I could never do the crawl. I was always bad at that. So yeah, okay. The whole idea of doing improv, okay, to say nothing of non-Western scales, for those of us who came out of a, give me the sheet music and I'll play it background, it's a little like, it's like using a different part of the brain that it's closer to the imaginative center. Oh, yeah, you see where I put my head. Your imaginative center and your musical ear are very, are farther to the back of your brain. Think of it like that. Okay, this is not an intellectual exercise in the forebrain. And the musical ear and the imaginative center are very conveniently located to the top of the spinal column, which is your connection to the ground of your system where the work of singing happens. That's all. Actually, it's a very handy structure in terms of being able to do this kind of work. I hope that makes you feel a little bit better. So, and Lauren, I asked you, by the way, anybody who has made a chart of the material, who didn't just do it orally, do me a favor and send it to me. I'd love to look at it. It's interesting as just from a purely musical point of view, and also to see how you're handling formatting in software, because sometimes I can actually be useful. I can do a little tutorial to some folks in Sibelius because I've been using it for quite a while. Kevin, you had a hand up?
Yeah, I would like to send that to you. I met with a good friend of mine last night who helped me with this program, and I was trying to do it and I was getting a little lost, but I feel like I'm getting the hang of it. So if it's okay, I don't have it right now, the settings that I'm doing, but I feel like I'm almost ready to finish it. It's just, I'm making some mistakes that I can't figure out how to go back and fix. So on the Sibelius one, on the program you're talking about.
Yeah, Sib, right. I can, if you know somebody who's really good with Sib, work with them. Otherwise, the thing about Sib 7 is that across the top there's a thing called a ribbon. You can type in what you need to do, and then it tells you, and then you have to try to understand what it's telling you, which itself can be a little weird. I know.
Like how to make the measures longer. Like I couldn't figure that out, so it kept messing with.
You mean how to stretch measures physically? Oh, you grab the bar line and you stretch it, and it messes up your whole chart. Trust me. That's a common issue if you're trying to fit things in. Okay, Lauren, you were expressing a certain amount of stress. I
can try it.
The question is, do you want to be the first one in the pool to splash around? Or
I think I would rather get it over with so I'm not distracted, so I can actually learn from my fellow students after that.
Okay.
So we can.
Okay. So the first part of the assignment is you just prepare the sheet music. These are sample things of several of the texts of Kabbalat Shabbat, right? There's a whole nother conversation, which I hope to get to a little bit about how to fit this material into a Friday night service, Kabbalat Shabbat, because that part of the service is nowadays so typically, a bunch of, let's all sing a bunch of fun folk melodies and then move on. And we talked about this before, we'll talk about it again. The skewing of a service to let's sing a string of fun folk tunes does not really serve the spirituality of the community. And this is obviously one of our larger long-term issues. So, okay, so Lauren, which one hast thou prepared for us?
I prepared the 01C Psalm 99 ending.
Thank you. Okay, we all have that. Let's, by the way, if there's only a few of these official settings, so there's going to be some repetition, which is a good thing because we can, hear what everybody has, everybody's take on how it works out. Yeah. And this is the simpler one, but simple can be good. It doesn't have to be, complex. If it's a question of delivering the goods. We won't talk about what the goods are. Just go ahead, Lauren. Okay. Oh, by the way, Diana, are we recording? Mm-hmm. Yes, we are. Woohoo! Thank you. Okay. Whoa! Take it down a fourth.
Oh, you're gonna change the key on me? We'll see.
Yeah. What's okay. No.
Adonai Elohim.
Let me give you a key, okay?
Okay.
The point being, don't only sing this stuff in a key that works for you. This is not Mozart that you have to do it in whatever, okay?
That is.
Okay, listen. This is a D. Trust me.
Okay.
So Adonai Elohim.
Adonai Eloheinu. Atani tam. Tam Elo. Say. You changed the key on me.
Okay, let's take it from. Okay, pick up to 6. Hayita lahem.
Hayita lahem. Venokem. Venokem. Al alilotam. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu. Veishtakavu le'or. Oh, it's so hard for me to change key on the spot.
I've probably done something terrible to you here, and ask you just.
I'm working on it.
Just like transposing in your head. If you do you have perfect pitch? Are you one of these people that screams when it says okay? So basically, think of this as movable tonic.
Yeah.
Right. You just find the tonic that works for you, and I'm sorry we didn't talk about this last week, and you feel that you have to do the thing in D major, which in your case, because you're a mezzo, is problematic.
It's not that I felt like I had to do it in there. It's that in order for me to do the movable tonic, I need to actually know it really well in my body first, and then I can move it. It's like Twinkle Twinkle, you can start me anywhere and I'll sing it. But when I don't know a piece, I have to learn it. And when I tried to even move it down like by a third or something in Sibelius, it did all kinds of funky things, and then it didn't sound right, and I was second guessing myself.
Okay, good. I'm glad we're having this conversation now and not in like November, okay? Because this is part of getting the whole train moving, and you found that there was a little bit of sand in the gears here. So we're going to come. I'll tell you what. We're going to come back to you. Who else worked on this chart? Okay, Rachel. Can you do us a favor and I'm taking people out of sequence here. Let's follow along. Lauren, you follow along, and Rachel, can you deliver the goods? And then we'll ask Ariel to do the same thing with the same chart.
I hope I can deliver the goods. Okay. Adonai Eloheinu Ata Anita El Nosei Hayita Lahem Finokem Al Alilotam Romimu Adonai Eloheinu Vehishtachavu Lehar Kodsho Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
Beautiful. Thank you. Okay. Noticing transposition wise, Rachel, you took that down to a low E, okay, which is interesting. I haven't heard that particular part of your voice. And I also note in terms of how you're delivering it, singing in low range. This is an issue that lots of high voices have this issue with singing in shul because most voices are low. The pitfall that you can run into in singing in low range is putting pressure on the larynx. Okay, is like working those low notes, right? And you didn't do that. Okay, I'm just noticing for everybody to hear. She just basically opened and let it flow. And that was gorgeous. I mean, if anything, the only constructive criticism I would put in right now is nothing. I'm not going to say anything. Okay, it was lovely the way it was. And there's always things one can do, like put a little more zippity doo-dah into it, a little more excitement into it, but. That's not a critique. That's just the process by which you gradually get to do this in shul. Okay, because a big part of doing a service is how you handle energy and making energy come alive, which means being lively. But no, you're cool. Fine, Ariel.
Adonai Eloheinu Atanitam El Nosei Hayita Lahem Venokem Alalilotam Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Vishtachavu Lehar Kadsho Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
Ooh, talk about low voices. Yeah. Okay.
I know. Well, I was using Sibelius, so I just dropped it down an octave.
An octave,
it
yeah.
Is low.
Yeah.
I'm getting my Barry White on.
Fine. Monday afternoon at the Monday Mincha at 5 p.m. A couple of you were there. Rami did something, forget what, and he did it in like low D, that is like basso profondo range. It's like an octave below my comfort low. Okay, he just went, oh, that, right, and it was on. Were you there, Kevin? No, you missed that one. It was impressive, and it's like, if you've got it, use it. But right, it's cool. All right, fine.
He came to my shul on Shabbos. He's hanging out in Northampton at the moment, and his voice and the mix, and everyone was like,
yeah, like what's that subwoofer doing down there? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, okay, fine. Ariel, the same thing. It's good that you're not putting pressure on it. And my comment here is a vocal one. It's not in terms of how you deliver the material, which was it's nice. It's a good. And part of the process vocally, especially those of us that have that really good low wheelhouse range, is is gradually opening more and more, so you get what I'm telling you, Ariel, is that there's more voice there. It's already good, but letting it open and letting it flow and energizing from underneath, it gets more and more warm and rich and yummy. So yes, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Thank
So moving back to Lauren, you've heard a couple of things. We a couple of versions where we're not exactly as the original Sibelius chart. Okay. I don't want to put you on the spot. Do you feel that you can try it again a little bit now that you've heard that?
A little bit.
Okay, go for it.
Adonai Eloheinu atani tam el nosei hayita lahem v'nokeh
No, listen, that's the blues note. Ay, 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 ay. Can you do that?
Then I.
Okay, now lean. Yeah, lean on the upper note. That's it. Ba 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 ba. That's where you really grab me, Joe Sixpack.
All alilotam.
Move it along. That's where you go to the four. Wom bum bum. How dry I am. Roho
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu.
Keep going. V'hishtachavu ba'ayayayayay. No, listen. Ayayayayay, ayayayay. That's all it is.
Oh, I'm missing something there.
Yeah, keep going. Ayayayay. That's what I want you to go.
Ayayayay. V'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Lehar kodsho.
Lehar kodsho. Ayayayay.
I wanna intervene here. I think what's happening is that it's so low in your range, Lauren.
It's too
You're
low.
getting disoriented.
Okay.
And
right. You
don't
drop
know
the
it that
whole
well
thing
to begin
way
with,
down.
and it's like way out of where you normally sing. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so Lauren, let's finish you off here. Measure 12, pick up to 13. Ki kado. Let's take it up. Kabam ba ba ba. Ki kadosh.
Ki kadosh. Adonai Eloheinu.
Yes. Okay.
Give me a half hour more with it, and maybe.
Right. Lauren, you're the only your issues. You got struggling with a few of the notes here and there in the chart. But your issues are primarily range and where it fits. Okay. So and this is essentially an easy fix, especially if you don't decide that it's hard. Okay. If you decide that it's hard, it's going to be hard. If you decide it's going to be easy, it won't be quite as hard. Okay, so yeah, let's move along. I'm going to ask for, let's see, Caitlin. I think Kevin, I'm going to save you a little bit. Rhonda, you had a hand?
Only because I did that one too. Not that it's
okay.
great, but just so that you know.
Okay, Rhonda, let's just stick with this chart for the moment, and then we'll, go to the rest of the class.
I had a feeling you might want to do that. That's
now,
right.
Now that we're on it, let's take a look at it. Because you notice this particular setting has your basic Nusach motifs, your ideas all kind of in place. Ay, 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 ay. Okay, it's you could say this was number 3, this was number 6, this was number 7, and there it is, ding, ding, ding. Right? And which is why it's kind of good student piece. It's also good to do in shul. You don't have to fancy it up like what Kevin's going to do.
Oh my God.
All right, Rhonda, let's hear
forward to that.
Go for it.
All right. Adonai Eloheinu atani tam el no say. I no. I messed up.
By the way, Ron, you transpose perfectly appropriately, by the way, Lauren, I hope you're listening. Okay. It's ba 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 ba. Oh, listen to me. No. Too much work here. Okay.
Okay.
Let's take it from measure 4. El no say. Hayita. Listen, look at the notes. Forget the words. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Okay, I want you to note something. This is a phrase, this is a pretty common thing in davening where the first note of a given phrase is the same as the last note of the preceding phrase. This is not unusual. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Well, it's not always the case, but this is one case in point here. So can you do that? Just do it as ay, 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 ay. Do that.
Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay.
Right, now you can do this in the shower all day long, right? You know, just sing all that stuff. Ay, 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 right? Okay, now do it with the words. El no sé.
El no sé. Hayita lahem.
Keep going.
Venokem.
Ay, 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 ay.
Venokem. Al alilotam. No. Ramemu Adonai Elohei. Eloheinu.
Yeah. Keep going, you're great. Ay, ay, ay. Ba, 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 ba. It's a measure of the third of the scale. Ay, 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 ay.
Vishtachavu. No. Vishtachavu.
Booba, ay, 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 ay.
Vishtachavu. Lehakadsho.
Keep going.
Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Absolutely. Nice feel, by the way. You're very nice lyricism in your phrasing there, and you weren't afraid of that last low thing. Adonai. Okay. Voice sounded good there. Yeah. Right. This is what I'm picking up is in terms of the scale. A couple of folks, it seems to be a bit of a common issue in the middle of line 2. Is we got yam ba 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 ya da 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 ya ya ya. Okay, I'm going to do it again, and then I'm going to do it twice. Everybody sing along. Okay, ya 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 ya. Everybody, ya 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 ya. Yeah, that's one of the tastiest aspects of this nusach. Otherwise, you could just do the whole thing in Western major, and that wouldn't be any fun. Okay. The fact is, the first 6 notes of this scale are exactly the same as a Western major scale. Yum ba 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 ba. It's when you go ba 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 ba. You're not in Kansas anymore, right? Yay. Okay. Where were we? Thank you, Rhonda. Lisa, want to try it? And then Alexandra, and then and then Kevin. We're saving you, Kevin, for the fun thing.
Okay, give it my best shot.
Which one are you doing?
1D. D.
Yes.
Adonai Eloheinu atanitam el nose hayita lachem nurkim sorry. That was right.
Yeah.
Venokem alilo tam romemu Adonai. Sorry. Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachvu lehar kodsho ki. Sorry. That's right. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yay. Okay. By the way, there's a new version of this chart that that just got sent out this morning. I did a tweak. I noticed there was actually a musical typo in measure 15, and there's now a new version that actually does the deceptive cadence.
Uh-huh.
So, but aside from that, working with what you did, Lisa. Okay, and everybody note that in this chart, line 3, measure 9, 10, 11, 12 are really just leaning on that natural 7th as ay. Okay, yeah, because that's the grabber, right?
I made a piano part for it, but I didn't know if you wanted to.
Can't deal with that right now. I'd love to hear it another time. Okay, we got miles to go before we sleep here. Yeah, nice, thank you. Okay, and Lisa, I will notice this is something we'll run into on a frequent basis where a figure repeats. It's a little like repeating a word, okay? If you're repeating a musical figure or repeating a word of text, can somebody stick a hand up and tell us what is the point of it?
I mean, it's bringing us back to the beginning, but it's also familiar, and we're coming to it in a new way.
What does repetition do dramatically in music, be it text or melody?
Emphasis.
Yeah, increasing emphasis. I love you, I love you, I love you. What? Okay. Or in this particular case, yeah, or in this particular case, measure 9, it's not I love you, I love you, I love you. No, it's Ali lo tam. The use of that little repetition of the little notes there actually is a build to measure 10. Okay, so Lisa, could you do this part again for us, please, to demo that? Take it from Venokem. Yeah, let's make it a little more analog. Okay, and you don't want to you want to be grounded before you hit that so that you don't have to break that line. Venokem ala lilotam. Can you imitate me for a second, please? There you go. Okay, nice. Yes, thank you. Okay, nice. Right. And then the next is Ramam Hu Ayai Adonai Eloheinu. Okay. The way a lot of these little phrases work, and this is a good micro course in a whole lot of Nusach we're going to do. The way phrases work is one question is where do you find the emphasis? I mean, ideally it's the accented syllable of a word, but it's not 100%. But certainly in the music, we take a look at measure 11. Romemu. Okay, it's obviously the emphasis is mu. Okay, and you don't want to make it all equal value. It's the Romemu. It's Romemu. Ay, ay, ay. This is a little bit of the River Hankus's signifiers. Ay, ay, ay. Right? And what I say unto ye is that don't be shy with the signifiers. Okay, this is one of the things that, for one thing, it sets off, the so-called Jewish style of doing things, at least Ashkenazi, and it also makes it emotionally more effective. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do, just this little bit here, and then I think I'll let you go, is Romamu Adonai Eloheinu note. On measure 12, the third note, that second B, is the emphasis. It's ay, ay, ay. Okay, and you've got to do that as part of a single vowel shape. Okay, we'll try that from Romamu, measure 11.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu.
Eloheinu.
Adonai Elohe. I don't have those on my notes, but
Really?
Adonai Eloheinu. I don't have that on the paper, but
My chart, Eloheinu.
Adonai Eloheinu.
Right. Yeah, that's it. You got the idea? Everybody got the idea? Cool.
So
Okay.
I'll just point out, in these charts, generally, when you see a note repeated like that, even if it's under a slur, it doesn't mean it's a tie. It might more properly be, or more easily be read for that if there was like a marcato line over the second note. So it's like actually a distinct note. That's a thing.
Yeah, and the question out of how to do that without like coughing the note out, okay, is a little tricky because it involves a little bit more of an oomph from your lower muscles, and you want to beware of using the solar plexus muscle walls to do that. It's just a little bit more of an oots from underneath.
but the accent is on the hey.
Actually, the accent of that, if measure 12, is the third note.
Is on that B.
Yeah. Yeah. In this particular, it's Adonai Eloheinu. Okay. But I mean, you got the notes right. It's a question where you put the syllables.
Okay.
Yeah. Get the point? It's a funny thing. It seems so simple, but it's a little on the subtle end.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Nice whistling. Okay. Ariel.
I was just wondering if we
Oh
can
wait,
have our bio break.
you did your thing. Yeah, we'll take a bio break in a second. I thought let's take a 2-minute break now, and then we'll come back to the rest of the fun. Speaking about range and comfort range in singing, it's clearly a longer subject than that we're going to use class time on, but just generally there's two things. One is that a lot of us spend quite a bit of our, shall we say, development as a singing instrument, discovering and open to the low range potential and the more vocal richness that can come through by kind of relaxing into that instead of feeling that we have to drive high, supposedly powerful, effective stuff. And being emotionally effective is not the same as being high and loud. Right? So that's one thing. And apropos of that, when it comes to choosing one's tonic, what key you want to sing in and stuff, especially if it's not just if you're doing straight Nusach improv davening, but if you're doing particular melodies, starting low is usually a good idea, because if you start somewhere in the middle and the thing lays up high, you're going to be in trouble. Okay, and if you're uncomfortable, the congregation is going to be uncomfortable because they tweak to where you're at. So generally speaking, finding the low point. This we're not going to spend a lot of time on this right now, but for instance, there's a term in music called tessitura. It's not just the range of something, but it's where something lays generally. Okay, you look for that, and if it's you might discover that if it's something that has like a pickup note, a start note of a low note that's like ba 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 ba. Okay, that low note, should be like right down at the bottom of your basement, because it's practically a throwaway dia pa pa pa, so that you be comfortable in the mid range. There are exceptions to that here and there. There's for instance, some things are just like you have to sing a lot in the lower range, and then the B part is in the upper range, so you have to just sing the lower part as low as you can possibly get away with. For instance, as part of the Yom Kippur service, some people do it in Selichot and Rosh Hashanah also. Hashivenu Adonai Elecha. That's a nice. And then goes, Venashuva. Watch out. Venashuva. Aye, aye. Okay. And if you didn't start low, everybody's in trouble. Just saying. Okay, where were we? Alexandra, what piece are you working on?
I am working on the same as Lisa. I'm a bit sight reading it, but not really because Lisa did it so beautifully for us. So
Very handy to be following somebody else. Okay, by the way, do you have the new version that was sent out?
I don't know. I'm looking at it from the Moodle from today.
Okay.
That's the new version.
Thank you, Diane.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, fine. I don't know what your tonic is. I don't care. Just whatever your tonic is, make it beautiful. Go ahead.
Adonai Eloheinu Ata Nitam El Nusi Ha'it Alahem V'nukim Alilotam Rommu Adonai Eloheinu V'ishtachavu lehakodsho Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
Yeah, mostly really nice work, and you hosed the last line. Okay. Yeah, right. Okay, yes. Yeah, nice work, and there's just a couple of things I'd like to point out. This is back into signifier territory. We have I'm looking particularly at line starting with measure 5, going through say measure 10 anyway. This is that all of those little phrase shapes have the upper note as being where your signifier thumb goes. Ay ay ay, ay 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 ay, ay ay ay, ay 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 ay. Okay, what you were doing was, I mean, in terms of how music in general would work, it's perfectly reasonable. But we're looking at being effective in this style. You kind of like touch those notes, and then you went for the very last note. Bum bum, yeah ba 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 bum ba 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 bum ba. Okay, I'd like you to do it and shift the emphasis around so that the upper note is what gets that signifier energy. Okay, so can you do it?
To the kind of the penultimate note.
Yeah, it's that upper note is the one that gets a yum ba 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 yum ba, and all note well ale in measure 5. There are notes. Some of these notes are precise and have tags, and some are stemless. Right, so you can get away with saying el no sé or el no sé and open up a little bit more, especially if you don't go to the L too quickly. Okay, but that's secondary. Okay, could you take it from the middle of measure 5 into the middle of the next line, please?
No sé,
Wait a minute. Stretch it. What are you afraid of? You've got the note. Hayita lahem. Even more. I'm. Aha. Yeah. Be shy on your own time. Okay, keep going. Yeah. Now you're taking me somewhere. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Cut. Thank you. We'll call you. All right. Yeah. No. Wait a second. This version of the chart, it was like I said, there was musical typo, and I had to send a tweak out this morning. I said, "Wait a minute." Okay. So thank you, Diana, for that. Measure 15. There's two things to note. Ya ba 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 ba. What do we call that? There's a term for it. We learned it last week. Volunteer, say it. Somebody say it.
That's our deceptive cadence.
Thank you. It looks like it's over, but it isn't. It's a fool you. Okay. Yeah. Right? Okay, so I'm gonna ask you to do that again so we can really hear that deception. And the way this chart is written now, measure 15, that's kind of interesting note values, because those two groups are basically, it's a 5-note group that is a quarter note value and a 3-note group that is a quarter note value. Okay, it's right? And then there's a straight yam bam, which is just a straight ahead eighth and dotted quarter. So you take a look at it. It's a, if you can do that. Go ahead. Ki ka. Okay. By the way, ki kadosh is more like quarter note triplets, which is slower. So it's bum 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 pa 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 pa. Okay, it's it gets fuzzy musically. Right? Can you take it from there, please? Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Everybody hear that? Nice. Yeah. Okay. And also, by the way, and I know you're a lyric soprano, but Adonai Eloheinu, that was a kind of a Diana note. That was like open and with a nice dark coloration. Just the syllable. Hey, I heard that. Just letting you know. Okay. Whatever you experience, remember that. Yay, thank you. Okay. Oh boy. Moving along. Kevin. Unmute, please. Kevin, you're muted. You're muted. Help. Whatever you did before, we didn't hear it.
Sorry, the sound cut out for a second. You're calling me, right? Yeah.
Yes, you.
Okay.
Yeah, O1E, the... Don't tell me you're going to do this in key as written.
No.
Thank you.
Not at 11:30 in the morning. No.
Right.
Ba'amud anan yidaber alehem shomru edotav v'choch natan lemor Adonai Eloheinu Ata anitam el nosei Haita lahem v'no keim lilotam romimu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtakavu lehar kodsho ki kadosh Adonai
Adonai.
Adonai Eloheinu.
Yeah, E suits you very well. Yeah.
I just picked that out of the air. So.
But no, Chazak Baruch. Masha Shkoyach on being willing to go there, and it's you've got a real good feel with the material. The this is just a couple of things before we move forward. The looking for the emotional emphases. Of course, high notes tend to be more emotional emphases, not 100%. Okay, but measure 6, you're gonna end of second line. Adonai Eloheinu. Right? You sort of what you did was good, but this is where you're going to say Adonai Eloheinu. You might as well give Adonai a little bit more, kavod in the room, right? So could you just do that, Adonai? Open it up.
Adonai Eloheinu.
Thank you. Okay, God says thank you. All right. Okay, now, no say. Okay. This is when we did this at Smicha Week. We spent a little bit of time doing melismas. Group of 5 notes. In this particular, it's going to be either 3 plus 2 or 2 plus 3. I vote for 2 plus 3 on this. It's ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya. Okay.
Yeah, I purposely picked this because I always have had a hard time moving my voice fast, and it's something I want to work on. And
okay, yeah. If you are using your neck, then you're definitely going to have a hard time. Okay. One of the growth let's say just growing edges of a work like this is figuring out how to like if you're bowing a cello, how to keep bowing that cello down below the belly button for these runs of notes. Mm-hmm. Because you go, okay, you can get away with all sorts of stuff, but that doesn't mean it's going to be good, right? Yeah. So it's okay, and obviously it's a rising line, not just pitch rise, but it's actually the whole sequence there. The way this works is it's a dramatic increase from the end of measure 8 up to measure 12, and then you got measure 12, Hayita lahem, and then not only that, but V'nokem So the whole thing is, just stretching things open for that energy. So it could be that when one is practicing something like this, think of that high, B flat in the chart, as being the goal of the from the beginning of measure 9 on. The whole thing is it's a little trip.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Okay, and then the other part is having gotten kind of really very sort of dramatic, right? Then you said, okay, all right, and you get to have fun with it a little bit also. It's not just drama.
Mhm.
Okay, so what I'd like to hear from you for this is, can you do that again? Vino came. Vino came. Yeah, just it's suddenly woohoo, a little bit of fun.
Yeah, I was getting lost in those runs there.
Yeah, right. Okay, so do it again. Just Vino came.
Veno came alilotam.
That's not what I wrote, but it's great.
I know you totally. That's like my one little.
No. Well, okay, listen. We're not going to spend time on it now, but just the notes are. You did something else, which was lovely. Yeah, that's all it is, right? Okay, and then the last thing I say is ki kadosh at the end of measure 19. Ki kadosh. If you're gonna go there, go there. Okay, all right. And it's just a question of stretching that energy open, and of course, what you need to do in a phrase like that is have the energy of the whole phrase kind of like happening already in the kishkis before you open it up. Just do that one little phrase.
Ki kadosh.
Right.
Ki kadosh. Adonai.
Adonai. Yeah. Adonai. Okay, listen. This the way this particular setting is structured is ki kadosh. That's home plate of the whole thing. Okay, and the rest of it is as you doff your cap and you wave to the fans as you're trotting back to the bullpen. Okay, right? Okay, ki kadosh. Then ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. That's the release where we take us back into our comfort zone. Okay, so what you did essentially is. You pulled things open here. The way this piece works, it's not shy.
Yeah.
Right, and it really goes somewhere. And I wouldn't be surprised if in the conservative shul you go to, you might be able to do this with great emotional success.
Yeah, I like I said, I picked it because it was the hardest, and I tend to always not do that in my life. I'm like, I'm going to do something. So thank you. I love this idea. I always feel like everything has a story. Everything has, like, whether it's prayer, whether it's a piece of music, a song, something that's instrumental, there's a story being told. And I think it's important to always have that. So I love your notes on the, these phrases and all of that. It's beautiful.
Great, thank you. Yeah, it's the anytime you're setting text to music, it's to amplify, right? And the way a lot of this works is sort of typical of a lot of vocal music, except we're doing spiritual text, which is a question of stretching things open. So if we come to the big buzzwords like Adonai or Kadosh, those are definitely, hey, stretch me open, please.
I love
Right?
that.
Okay, am I missing anybody? Caitlin, did I skip you past? Sorry.
That's okay. I also did 1D, and we probably already worked that pretty heavily, but
I'd like to hear you, please.
okay.
Now that you've had the opportunity of hearing everybody else.
Okay. Adonai Eloheinu Ata Nita El Nosi Hayita Lahem Elohim. I'm on way out off the reservation here. Sorry.
So you went off, but you came back. Continue,
Okay.
please. Vino came.
Venokim. Venokim alilotam romemu Adonai Eloheinu vishtachavu lehar kodasho ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu.
Yeah. Yeah, nice work. Oh, you got a little bit lost at the beginning, but we don't care about that.
All right.
Right.
I noticed that all of us are having trouble, well, not all of us, most of us are having trouble bouncing around between 5 and 3 in the scale. It's like we lose our moorings between 5 and 3.
Yeah,
I'm definitely
well,
including
this is-
myself in this in this club.
Right. Well, that's okay. Yeah, listen. Everybody is clearly demonstrating that the Nusach lab hour from the other has been paying off. There's no question, and the you know something. Listen, Caitlin, you're doing good work. Okay, and nobody is 100% on top of this, or you wouldn't need to be in this class. However, okay, the same thing that we talked about earlier, you could milk your use the signifiers a little bit more, like measure 8. V'nokem, ay ay ay. Okay, could you just do? Okay, this is it's like I'm in an Italian restaurant and I just ate a particularly beautiful piece of mushroom stuffed ravioli. Ay ay ay! Oh boy, did that taste good? Okay, it's yummy, right? Could you just say ay ay ay? Just sing like that. Just sing ay ay ay.
Ay, 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 ay,
Aha! It's already tasting better. Yeah. Okay, V'nokem.
V'nokim alilotam romemu. Yes,
Yeah,
go on.
Yeah, nice. No. You're good. You're good.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah. Okay. Oh boy, it's a funny thing. I fall very easily into foodie analogies, right? Because it's about it's about the tastiness of it. Okay, and as a matter of fact, one of the Hebrew terms that's applied to music is ta'am. Okay, yeah, the ta'am is boy. Diana, how would you just define ta'am in English?
Flavor. Taste.
Yeah, musical flavor, which it feels a little bit like I don't know, food flavor. It tastes yummy. It tastes part of this gets us into stuff that you can't put on sheet music, right? It's about how the words taste in the mouth. Okay, there's a tastiness to it, and I'm using a physical analogy because this is a physical process. Okay, and for them of us, which is just about all of us, who are doing the high hos, it might not be a bad idea to stop and sit back for a second and consider the doing all of that really serious, important stuff from a point of view of ta'am, okay, of flavor, of tastiness, tasting the words. And it's one thing to do Yit Gadal. Okay, yeah, right. We can do that. It's dramatic stuff. But Yit Gadal. Ay ay ay. Okay. So this, touching on this particularly, I'm just throwing this out as a possible way of taking off a little bit of the edge of stress around all of those holiday things. If you start thinking of them as an exercises in tastiness, maybe have a little more fun with it. It's a whole nother conversation. Like the high holidays there's so much guilt associated with them. Like people, I have to go to shul and be sorry I was bad. We'll be having more of those conversations next spring. Okay,
people don't know if you haven't done it right, but they do know if you have done it in a way that touched them.
Yeah. One of my teachers, there was one person, one student said, I'm going to do the high holiday. I got to figure out how I'm going to lead all of these people in all of these terribly important services. And one answer that came through was, don't. Okay? Just touch people. Just be open. And that takes a little bit of the stress off. Oh my God, I've got to do this job right. Yeah, thanks, Diana. So, Nu, okay, here we come at 1:45 with the second part of the assignment. Well, the second part was just have fun doing some of your own improv in the shower or when you're walking your cat. So, and I'm not going to ask you to do that now, but we're trying to go here in this medium and see what it feels like. So let's take a look at assignment number 3 was pick a piece of text from Kabbalat Shabbat. Pick any piece of text your heart desires, and have some fun in Adonai Malach. So I'm going to start running around the room, and if anybody says, "No, please don't call on me now, I'm not ready," okay, I will respect that. But meanwhile, Lauren, what do you think?
I'll give it a shot.
That's like Scotty says to Captain Kirk. Yes, I'll get that warp drive online. I'll give it a shot, Captain.
I'll give it a shot.
What are you doing? What text are you going to do?
Sorry. Psalm 96, the beginning of Shirul Adonai.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead, and then I got a comment on that. Of course.
Of course.
No. There's a point There's a point to what you're doing here. It's really useful. Go ahead.
And I'm thinking in my head because, of course, I wrote it in the same key as the Nusach sheet. No, it's too high.
Lauren, take a cleansing breath and deliver the goodies, please.
Okay. Shiru. Let's try it again. Shiru. It's going to be too high.
Let's find a note.
Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash.
Keep going. Don't stop.
Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai, Marechu Shemo, Bazru miyom leyom, Yeshuato.
Beautiful. Thank you. That 2 lines, that's fine. at the first part, you weren't quite on the pitch of the Adonai
No, I
Malach
wasn't.
seventh, okay? And yam bam ba ba ay 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 ay. Can you do that?
Ay, 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 ay,
Okay.
ay.
Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash.
Shiru Adonai Shir Chadash.
Yeah, lovely. That was very fine. That's very nice. Did anybody else do this particular psalm, the first two lines of Psalm 96? Rachel?
I did the first three.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's stick with the same text for the moment, and I'll get around to saying what I have to say on the subject eventually.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Shiru l'Adonai Shir Chadash Shiru l'Adonai Kol Haaretz Shiru l'Adonai Baruchu Shemo Basru miyom liyom Yeshuato Saperu v'goyim Kevodo Bechol Ha'amim Niflotav.
Wow, thank you. Beautiful. By the way, do you have henna on your hand?
I do.
Ooh, hold up the hand. We want to see the hand. Come on. Ooh, very Indian. They do it to the bride for the wedding.
Now I'm an Indian wife. Okay.
Yay! Oh, son. Okay, and I bet you're not sorry.
I didn't wear. Sorry, I can't do it.
Okay. Yeah, no. Okay. Listen. You're doing great. One comment here is you did 3 lines of text and did it beautifully, which gives you the opportunity to stretch more nusach into the process. For instance, you could have gone to the minor, the third over the octave. Sapru vagoyim kevodo. Ba 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 ba. Okay.
Yeah.
Not that you had to. I'm just pointing out that when you do more text like that, you actually have. This is one of the ways that Nusach is going to work, folks, across the board. When there's more text, you have more opportunity for musical stretching, and having more inspiration, and there's more room for it. The opposite means if there's a shorter piece of text, you can't ram all of the nusach from the chart into it. You have to make whatever the length of the text is work appropriately, and not try to over sing something. Okay, so yeah, there's a balance to be drawn. That's very nice. Okay.
Can I ask? I know we're short on time, but can I ask one quick question?
Yeah, sure.
About that?
Mm-hmm.
Because I have just been kind of confused with this one. So, I feel like I'm just randomly selecting from the chart. So I'm wondering that this finale set up possible deceptive cadences. Would you say that, like, for it to be Adonai Malach, if you've at least got 3 lines of text, you've got to stick that in, or
No.
if you could or you couldn't?
Yeah. Okay. Basically, as a matter of fact, it could well be that if you're doing the first couple of lines of one of the Psalms, for whatever purposes in shul you have, we'll get back to that in a second, that you don't want to use that deceptive cadence. That's a real, that's a showstopper. That's a real, come to the end, and then here's the really end, okay? That's the sort of thing that you would reserve for the very end of whatever psalm setting you were doing. Okay, so basically what you did was perfectly fine. You didn't need to, like I said, one does not need to pump in all of the ideas one can, or that's on that chart, to make the thing work. A couple of the preset things that I sent out that you have there do not use the deceptive ending.
Right.
Okay, it's not critical. Hold line 1 second, folks. Oh,
Thank you.
road work outside. Okay. on this particular piece here, on that score, where do I go? Nusach PDFs. Come on, open up. Hello. It's on somewhere on this other desktop. I have two screens away. Everybody take a look at O1H. H is in happy. It's the Shlomo setting, which it's pretty familiar to a whole lot of folks.
Did you say H?
Oh, mine, it's either H or G. There's a confusion in my stuff also. It says it's 96 Shlomo.
The
Okay.
file name says H and the title on the page says G.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so who's perfect? All right. Now, this is it's originally on another text. We're not going to go there, and some folks just do it as a nigun. Okay, I mean I've used it as a part of a horror medley. You know, at parties. I would be surprised if you don't know it, and if you don't, you know it now. Okay. And it's become pretty common, at least in conservative shuls, the folks that do psalm texts, to do Psalm 96, the whole thing, using this melody. Shiru ladonai shir chadash, etc. Okay? Now,
Also in Orthodox shuls.
well, yes, okay. And anybody that does, whole psalms, okay, will do this. And I say this because most folks don't do whole psalms or all of the Kabbalat Shabbat psalms. Okay, some folks, there's a couple that sometimes get done. This is the most common one. And reason I'm pulling this up is because rather than ram into the Shlomo melody from the end of the previous psalm, end of Psalm 95, this is where the Chazan has the opportunity to do a musical mise en scène by doing the first couple of lines, like what Lauren did, what Rachel did, and just open up the whole thing. So if you were to start off by Shiru l'Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru l'Adonai, Kol ha'aretz, Shir Adonai, Baruch Hu Shemo, Basru miyom Yeshuato, which is a nice way to start the trance. Shiru l'Adonai. It's a great way, a great opportunity. And a great function for the Chazan to open the text up and the moment, to open the moment up first before you start that whole train off the track. Making a note. This is a general good point to remember. You've got a tune. We're all going to do X tune, whatever it may be. One way to do it is to start the tune itself kind of slow, so you don't hit it really hard and fast. Another way is to intro the whatever you're going to do as a nigun only. First, this works for Samicha Mochsad. And another way is what we're doing right now, which is to do a little bit of Nusach, which anchors things, and then bring everybody in. You can. I hope you can hear how emotionally this can be very successful. So yay. I think what we're going to do is call it for today. And I will, of course, be sending out an assignment. What we're going to do is continue and finish off, because syllabus-wise, we got to move, with the improv. So everybody's going to be asked to practice some more improv, and then some of you that didn't get to do it today, you get another week to sing it at the shower. Okay, and we'll also look at a couple of other things. There's a setting of Psalm 95, which is call answer, which gives the Chazan room to do some or text, opening up of text with congregational responses built in. This is a good paradigm to think of in terms of how you develop, what you do in shul. And from there, we're going to be tying this off, and with maybe a couple more looks at Adonai Malach, and moving forward into the second Nusach, which is totally different. Okay, it's a minor scale Nusach, and goes somewhere else entirely, and we'll hopefully have fun with that. So God willing, I'll see everybody next Thursday with the yummies, and thank you very much for the good work.